Real quick before this video starts, was going through doing a massive inventory on all my merchandise that I sell on my website, HVACRvideos.com. Actually found a bunch of merchandise that wasn't in our system, so I added it to it, some shirts, different things like that. We're still running low on hats, so stay tuned. The large, extra large hats, I think there's only a few left. But I do have a big order coming in on those. But if you're interested and if you've been looking for certain shirt sizes, I added a few things into the system. So check it out, HVACRvideos.com, and let's get on with the video. This video is brought to you by Sportland. Quality, integrity, and tradition. Well, today we've got an AC that's not working right. Now, they're complaining their whole building's not working, but we're in the process of checking the temperature differentials across the evaporators, and so far all of them have pretty good TDs. Now, we realize that's not a true way to test for proper operation, but when you've got 8 units, you know, you're triaging, kind of like trying to find the problem. This one right here though only has like a 15-degree TD. So this is a carrier package unit. What is the tonnage on this guy? This is a 10-ton. So let's open it up and see what's going on. Well, when we open it up, we've got a totally iced up suction line coming all the way back to the compressor. So let's go ahead and shut this guy down. At the disconnect switch, we'll pull this guy and have a look at that evaporator. Why is it iced up is the question. The filters are fairly new. Don't see a problem there. What I'm gonna do is get them pulled out so that way we can get this guy defrosted. The evaporator doesn't look very dirty. But yeah, it's iced up, at least half of it. So we're gonna get the indoor blower motor turned on, pulling outside air, and get it to melt that ice really quick. Open up this electrical section and check this out. This guy's all burnt up. I wonder if it was like welded shut or something. That's odd. The rest of them don't look horrible. You know what though? Is this an indoor blower motor? No, I think the blower's over here. I'll have to look and see. Can't remember. If we pull this unit panel right here, they have a legend down here and they tell you that's compressor 2. So compressor 1, indoor fan contactor. Compressor 2 is the one with the totally burnt up contactor. So I disconnected both compressors right here. Sorry about that glare. Disconnected both compressor wires, turned it back on, the indoor fan's running, put this panel back on, and then we're now drawing air through here and it'll melt it. We gotta make sure it doesn't run down in the ducts. And to make this go faster, I'll go ahead and pull this P-trap off. Actually, no, it needs it. So yeah, we just gotta make sure that it's draining. All right, I went ahead and replaced all of the contactors. That was the one that was all burnt up. This one right here, thing's all trashed. That's the second stage, I labeled them all. Then there's the first stage, and then there's the indoor blower motor contactor. So we changed all of them. Now, we don't know what caused it to ice up though. So we just had to do that because they were all worn out. And then now we're gonna continue on with our troubleshooting and try to figure out what happened here. Well, this first stage compressor, I just turned it on, is vibrating so bad that it's causing my probes to leak. It's gonna cause a leak, like a refrigerant leak soon. That's odd. It's interesting how bad it's vibrating. All right, well, we got all stages running. Contactors are good. I'm gonna put the panel on and we're gonna check the pressures and everything. All right, so first stage has got really low suction pressure, 24 PSI, and we have decent head pressure, 30 degrees of subcooling. I bet you we got a restricted filter dryer. All right, let's check second stage. Second stage is looking a lot better. Interesting, huh? All right, well, let's start checking, diagnosing what's going on. Obviously, subcooling's really high on second stage too, but I'm just looking at that operation of that 20-something PSI suction pressure, 28 PSI suction pressure on this guy. That's a problem for sure. So if we look at liquid line temperature for the first compressor, it's right at 81 degrees. Second compressor's at 93. Let's check the other side of the dryer for the 81 degrees. So the other, I moved the liquid line temperature and it's 93 on the other side. So 93 and it's coming out 81. So we have a restricted filter dryer for the first stage, and the first stage compressor is vibrating really bad. So here's the liquid inlet, and then I was on the top getting the liquid outlet. So yeah, we've got a restricted dryer on that first stage for sure. So this compressor's got a nasty vibration. The liquid line dryer's plugged up. We have to start by doing that. I'm not going to put a Carlisle. I don't even know if you can get these anymore. I'm going to put in a Copeland. So what I did was on the Copeland mobile app, I just inputted the compressor and it gave me the cross reference right here. Tells you everything. Make sure that it all mechanically, performance wise, looks like the Copeland is a 1% increase in capacity. Yeah, so all right, so I need to call around and see if I can find this compressor. All right, I've got a technician going to get the compressor. Let's actually open that gas ballast. Vacuuming down the recovery cylinder because it had pressure in it, nitrogen pressure, because it was brand new. We're gonna try to utilize this gas. We need to reuse it. So we're gonna recover that, change the dryer, compressor, and then go from there. Now this compressor is vibrating. The paint is rusted off the top. You know, there's a possibility that the plugged up dryer could be causing something, but I've never seen a vibration that bad just from a plugged up dryer. Plus the fact that the paint is completely rusted off. I'm gonna trust my gut and say that there's something wrong within that compressor. I'm surprised it lasted this long. Anyways, these Carlisles, they usually leaked out of the weld points on these things pretty often. So that's where we're at. We're just waiting for this. We already got the contactors changed out. I'll start getting the dryer sanded up and everything. It's really hot in the building, so I decided to go ahead and turn on the second stage as long as I can. So I'm running it right now, so I put the panel back on. We're getting ready to turn the recovery machine on. I just put the vapor into there, all the vapor that I could get out of it. And at this point, we're gonna go ahead and, everything's open. Go ahead and turn this guy on. Let it start pumping the refrigerant into the tank. I got it to pull down to about 400 microns and it held pretty good. So we left it at that. And that's it. We're just gonna wait for this guy to recover. I don't know how much gas is gonna be in here or not. We'll have to see. This guy has the correct charge in it, so that's cool. 9.2 pounds, we're just about done. Yeah, it's just got some leftover vapor, so we'll let it run for a few more minutes, but the full charge was 9.6 pounds, so we pulled out 9.2. I mean, that's pretty darn good. And we still got to purge, so we'll get some more when we purge it from the machine into the tank. So that's a plus. We know we're not low on gas. So I turned it off and then put it into self-purge and turned it back on, and it basically got as much gas out of the machine as possible. We'll get ourselves up to 9.5 pounds recovered. So I'm a happy camper with that. I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the unit now. It's been running for about a half an hour. They got something out of it. So we still got about 2 PSI residual pressure in there. We'll start changing the dryer. I'm still waiting for my technician to bring me the compressor, but I'm gonna hurry up because of course they just sat a party of 40 in this room. So they're like, oh, what do we do? I'm like, I don't know. Do what you gotta do. I mean, you want me to do it today or not? Like, I can leave half the AC running or I can get the entire AC running today. You tell me. And they decided to let me just do the whole thing, so. Got some nitrogen flowing, got a new dryer. I'm gonna go back in with a bigger dryer. We'll put in a 16 cubic inch. It's gonna be a little tricky, but I'm gonna get that replaced real quick and just leave the compressor in place until my other technician is at least on his way. But I'll get the dryer changed first, that way the nitrogen can actually flow through everything. So on the side of the Sportland catch-all box, it tells you for air conditioning, field replacement. That's very important, field replacement, because oftentimes you'll see smaller than normal dryers than what it says on the box for factory conditions, because they don't really have a lot of contamination cleanup worries when it's a factory new install. But after the fact, you typically want to go up in size if you know you can. Just be careful though, don't just always just blindly upsize them. But tells you on the side it can handle up to 5 tons, so we're going to go with this 16 cubic inch. So it's a 16.3, that means 3/8 line sizes, and it's an S meaning sweat. Sometimes purging with nitrogen or flowing nitrogen while you're doing this can cause a lot of smoke, but also trapped oil can be burning at the same time too. So there was a big puff of smoke that came out the top of the AC, and it's still kind of smoking, but I'm just blowing nitro through still. I'm gonna try my best to get the new dryer installed, and then we'll sweat it back in. Got the dryer changed out, just gotta fix the strap, make it a little bit tighter. Just had to get a longer screw. I protected it as best as possible with the Viper wet rag heat blocking compound. You can see I still got a little bit I gotta get off the top, but it did a good job of protecting the dryer so the paint doesn't completely rot off. My technician should be back any minute with this compressor, so hopefully we'll get this guy pulled out here pretty quick. All right, just got the compressor unsweat. Looks like there's a little bit of oil dripping out, so we're gonna have to do some backwards purging, getting some stuff out of the evaporator. Let's make sure this is 208 3-phase. It is. It's a ZR57. That's what the Copa Mobile app called for. So we should be good. I'm just gonna do some backwards purging to get that oil out of that evap real quick. I know I'm goobering that solder on there, but it's okay, it'll flow around. Okay. And I put a liquid line port for subcooling right here. We also use that to purge the system. This Rosebud is way too hot for this 3/8, but so I'm not really heating in the direction you want it to go because we've got a brass fitting that we don't want to overheat. So you're kind of having to do a little bit of torch work there to make sure everything's good. Now I'm just going to inspect everything, put some new Cormax fittings in there, and we should be good. All right, we are purging in on the high side, or pressurizing on the high side. It came back on the low side really quick, so I'm hoping that we don't have any restrictions in there. We're going to do a pressure test, so I got it on the tightness test on the app. We're looking pretty good. We'll start wiring it up once we get the tightness test running. But at least now we have a subcooling port too, because these carriers don't have subcooling. It's pretty safe to say on these fixed orifice metering devices, these ones have actuator metering devices. They have about a 35 PSI pressure drop from the high side to the liquid line. So if you don't have a liquid access port, you can kind of do the math and find the saturation temps. I don't know what the max pressure is on this one, but I probably don't want to go any higher than 145. Probably need to go lower than that. Let's see, factory test pressure is 150 PSI. So for the low side. So we'll definitely not go above 150 PSI. So we'll let it stabilize out. I'll put a little bit more in there real quick. We'll let it stabilize out, then we'll do a pressure test, or a standing pressure test by turning a timer on. So what you want to do is shut off this guy and then open the high and the low and then just let it sit. Make sure all your hose connections are nice and tight. Make sure this is tight. I'm not putting undue pressure on my hoses because there's a lot of pressure coming from that. And then we just open this up and then open this up and let it sit for a few minutes, and then we hit start on the test. You want to let it equalize out, make sure that, you know, there's not changes in temperature and stuff that are going to cause changes in pressure, because this is nitrogen and people think that it doesn't change pressure, but it does with temperature. So just let it sit for a few minutes. All right, the pressure temperature, or the pressure test, has been running for 14 minutes. We've changed 0 PSI. I'm going to call that good. We're going to hook up the vacuum pump now. Pretty darn hot out here today. I haven't gotten a thermometer out here, but it's probably right around 100. Cool thing, while I'm doing this, I can actually see light through the condenser, so that's good. We know that's clean. Dryer's installed, compressor's installed. I need to do the wiring right now. Got the vacuum pump running. So far we're looking good. It's running. I've got the blue vac opened up. We're at about 1700 microns. You can see it on there. 1700 microns. I've got the gas ballast wide open at the moment. I'll get ready to shut it in a minute. It's doing pretty good. We are currently below the decay target, so we're at 655 microns. We still got to go lower. It's currently about 110 degrees in the shade. So yeah, it's pretty warm today, but I've been trying to keep moving, taking stuff back that I'm done with, and, you know, trying to stay efficient as possible. I have another guy here helping me. He went and took lunch. I've got a filter dryer on the recovery tank because we're going to filter the refrigerant as we're charging the system. So I have it on the liquid port. Very important factor here. I get a lot of people asking me. Every tank can change, okay? Blue and red mean nothing on recovery tanks. You have to look at the writing, okay? Manufacturers of different tanks, they do different, you know, color schemes or whatever. So red is not always liquid, blue is not always liquid. It changes from time to time. So we're going to charge from the liquid port though with R22 back into the system. And then I have some more because it's going to be, you know, I'm probably going to be basically have a pound or so stuck in that tank, maybe half a pound. So I've got that to make up the difference, regular R22. So yeah, we're just waiting for this vacuum. It's almost there. We're at 638. So just hurry up and wait. I did forget to mention, I put new Cormax fittings in here. Anytime I open up a system, I put new Cormax fittings. And then I have my Appion Schrader core depressors, which are perfect for the Cormax fittings. So they have a mechanical fitting right here. You depress the Schraders. You can use them on regular Schraders like this one, or you can use them on the Cormax fittings. The only advice I'll give you is do not bury them all the way down. Do not twist them all the way down. You just break the rubber seal on the Cormax fitting, and that's it. Because if you jam them all the way down and tighten these fittings, the Cormax fittings will get stuck. And that's just a flaw in the Cormax fittings. So, but yeah, those things are really awesome. You can pick them up at TrueTechTools.com if you're interested. You use my offer code BIGPICTURE, one word, you'll get an 8% discount on majority of the items at checkout. There's a few things it doesn't apply to, but when you do that, I get a small commission. So it's a great way to help support the channel. So we made it below 500 and I have it in decay now. So we're letting the blue vac take over, and it'll give me a pass fail in here in a few minutes. And it uses an algorithm, so it doesn't make you wait too long. All right, we passed our decay test. So the cool thing is when you use these valves right here, you can actually shut it off without breaking the vacuum. So we're gonna go ahead and open that guy, open that guy. I purged all the way up, so that's why you're hearing gas right there. This is open. We have a dryer facing out so we can charge. Everything's closed. Go ahead and open this, and then we're gonna go ahead and add refrigerant. Dumping it into the high side, get it to take as much gas as it can. Again, filtering as it's going in, and then we'll make up the difference with that drum of R22 right there. All right, we've got about 7 pounds of gas in this guy. We need to bump start it to see if this compressor is going in the right direction. We're gonna go ahead and turn on the power, and I'm just gonna bump it, and it sounds good. So compressor's going in the right direction. I'm gonna go ahead and jump it out real quick, get both stages running, and then we'll finish charging it. I mean, it's not looking horrible. It's not pulling below freezing, you know, and it's only been running for a minute, but we got to finish charging it. So I'm just dumping refrigerant into the low side. We're currently at about 7.9 pounds. and we got to get to 9.6, but I only pulled out like 9.4, so we're getting there. But so far it's looking pretty good. All right, we've been running for, I don't know, 25 minutes or so. Superheat looks good. I wonder what the target is. I need to take my gloves off. Let's see. Target is 5 degrees. We're at 3.7. Okay. I'm not gonna, I weighed in the factory charge, so I'm not gonna take any gas out. Subcooling, that's a true subcooling, 15 degrees. That's not bad. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Let's go to circuit 2. Circuit 2 is running high head pressure. Subcooling's 30 degrees right now. Superheat's 24. Yeah. 41 degree saturation. That's interesting. Okay, let's scroll over. Temperature splits 22 degrees. That's not too bad. Airflow 3600 CFMs. Running about 90,000 BTUs. We should be running about 98,000. I ended up moving the return air temperature sensor, the psychrometer, and it's doing much better. It's kind of bouncing around right now, but I ended up moving it because the top of the air handler cabinet in there, it actually doesn't have very much insulation, and there's a significant temperature difference. So that made a difference there, but we're still kind of bouncing around. Subcooling, there's something wrong. I think my temperature clamp's messed up. Well, that's it for this one. That's all we're gonna do right now. I still want to investigate that head pressure. Like I said, I'm going to talk to the customer about recovering that charge, but we can't do it today. So that's it on this one. Sometimes you got to use your gut, and you got to just kind of look at everything. Okay. In this situation, the compressor was vibrating. I didn't like it. It was hard for the camera to pick it up, but there was just this vibration coming that was going to eventually crack something, right? A discharge line or something. But I also think, you know, there's a possibility that that vibration could have been because of the restriction. Something could have been going on. But judging by the look at the compressor, the head, now I don't think I phrased it correctly when I said the compressor head is rusted out. That's not rusted out. It is, but it's caused from overheating of the compressor, melting the paint off the top of the compressor, right? And then it starts to rust. So when you start to see that on compressors, that the paint is completely melted off, that typically means that that thing was running in a really bad situation for a very long time, causing the system to overheat, and who knows what was going on within that compressor, okay? So I just made a judgment call, talked to the customer, said, hey, here's the deal. I really think we should change this compressor. It's in bad shape, and they approved it. Okay, they said, yeah, no problem. They trust me. They said, if I think we should do it, they said, go ahead. So went ahead and changed the restricted dryer and the compressor, started it back up, crossed my fingers that there wasn't a restriction in the fixed orifice metering device. There wasn't. I was able to reuse the refrigerant. Okay. I had a brand new recovery cylinder, vacuumed it down, and then I used a filter dryer to charge the refrigerant back into the system. So if there was any contaminants in that refrigerant, the hope is that the filter dryer is going to catch them. Okay. So I do like that. I use the Sporlan male-female 032, I think, filter dryers, and they make two different directions where it can go, you know, either way. It can change directions, and you can get the different ones. I usually keep a few in my van because they're really nice when you're recovering gas and you want to protect your recovery machine, or if you're charging gas and you want to clean the gas as it's going back in the system. Okay, so I went ahead and did that. You know, followed the best practices that I could, went ahead and oversized the filter dryer from an 8 cubic inch to a 16 cubic inch, and then evaluated everything once we got it going on. Of course, pulled a good vacuum, tried to braze with nitrogen the entire time, of which I did on this one, and everything seemed to be okay. So this was a textbook one. This unit was probably from 2004. You know, they were able to keep it going, and maybe they'll get, you know, the rest of this summer out of it, and who knows what'll happen next year. You know, I still have a lot of customers that have a lot of R22 equipment, and they still just want to keep fixing it. So I keep giving them prices, and the refrigerant prices are going through the roof, and they keep approving the quotes. I always recommend, hey, you know, it's probably a good idea to change these units, but, you know, that sometimes goes to deaf ears. I just give them the information and let them make the decisions, okay? I'm not a perfect technician. I just try my best.
I really appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video. Thank you so very much for all the feedback, the comments. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, the easiest way to support this channel is literally watch the videos from beginning to end. That really is the easiest way. A couple other ways to do so. Go to my website, hvacrvideos.com. We actually, I said it at the beginning and I'll say it again, we actually just, updated some stock because we were out of stock on a lot of items, and we went through and we inventoried everything, and I actually found a lot of inventory that wasn't in the system, so I threw a bunch of t-shirts and different things in stock. We're still running low on some of the hats, but there'll be we placed a big order for a lot of new stuff, so stay tuned on that. So hvacrvideos.com if you're interested in purchasing any merch. If you're interested in purchasing any tools or any of the tools that you see me using in my videos, what you can do is you can go to truetechtools.com. Okay, they're an online tool website. Very, very good people, very good customer service. Check out their website if you like their pricing, if you like what they have. On checkout, if you guys put my offer code, big picture, one word, you'll get an 8% discount on majority of the items they have on their website. Now, there's a few things that discount doesn't apply to, but almost everything on the website it does. When you use that, you get an 8% discount. I get a small commission from that. So great way to help support the channel. Also, if you want to support the channel, PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, there's links in the show notes of this video on how to do all of those. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you, and we will catch you on the next one, okay?